Welcome to this lesson on restaurants. So, I'm going to talk about a number of different kinds of restaurants. The most popular kind of restaurant in North America is what we call a fast food restaurant. We sometimes call it a fast food joint. We sometimes just refer to it as getting fast food. Okay, so if someone says, do you want to grab some lunch? You could say, yeah, let's just go through a drive through and get some fast food. So, fast food restaurants, I think, are good, but I think maybe in North America, we eat too much fast food. No, that's not a maybe. In North America, people eat too much fast food. It is just way too convenient. So, a fast food restaurant makes your food really quickly. You go in, you order, and your food is ready in no time. In English, when we say that something is ready in no time, it means that it's ready almost instantly. I was going to say something else about fast food, but it has slipped my mind. But I am going to talk about what it's like in Canada to go to a fast food restaurant. So, the first thing you do in a fast food restaurant is you need to place your order. You need to go through the process of placing your order. In English, you could also say that you need to order your food. Okay, so you need to let the person know who is working at the cash register, or sometimes we call it the till. You need to let them know what you would like to eat. So the first thing you would usually do in a fast food restaurant is wait in line, and then eventually you can place your order. There's something new though, just in the last couple of years. You don't have to order your food from a person. I know a couple of people who I talk to who are learning English really like ordering their food from the kiosk because then they don't have to talk to anybody. But we now have these things in our fast food restaurants, in some of them, where you can simply push buttons on the screen to order your food. If you are learning English, I highly recommend that you order your food from a person if you are in an English speaking country rather than ordering it from a kiosk. I just think it's good practice for you to do that. So you can order your food or place your order using a kiosk as well. Let me just check one more time to make sure things are working. I think I muted. Yes, excellent. I love it when everything's working properly. Last week, Saturday, I had an audio issue. Today, things seem to be working good. So the place where you order is usually called a counter, okay? Just like in a kitchen, you have a counter. In a fast food restaurant, you usually go up to the counter to order your food. So again, the counter is the whole area at the ordering area of the restaurant, whereas the till or the cash register is just that thing in front of the person. So you would go up to the counter. And generally, let me make this a bit bigger for you. So generally, there is a menu board up on the wall behind the person who is at the cash register or at the till. And on the menu board, you can find all of the things that you are able to order. Interestingly enough, these menu boards are now usually large televisions or computer monitors, and sometimes the menu changes while you're looking at it. I don't like that. That bothers me quite a bit. The menu boards or menus in fast food restaurants used to be permanent, but now sometimes I'm looking at it and I think, oh, what size coffee do I want? And then all of a sudden the image changes and it's something different. And then I have to wait for it to change back to the menu that I was looking at. So Bob the Canadian is not a big fan of menu boards. So you would look at the menu board and then you will need to order. So this is actually former President Obama, I think. Yeah, it is. So there are a number of phrases that you can use to order food in English. Probably the four most common are I'll have. So let's say I wanted a cheeseburger. You could say, I'll have a cheeseburger. You could say, I'd like a cheeseburger. You could say, I think I'll have wait, I said that one already. I'll take a cheeseburger. And you could also say, I would like, or yeah, I think I said there was going to be four. I have a video on where I go to restaurants where I do go over four, and I can't remember them. I should have written them down on a piece of paper. I'll have, I'd like, could I have, oh, may I have, there's the other one. May I have a cheeseburger? So you will need to use one of those 4 phrases to kind of indicate what you would like. I'll have a cheeseburger and a large fry and a Coke. That would be a typical order. Thank you, Vaselina. Wait, I have to put my glasses on to read my screen. Vaselina Belfigurova, thank you so much for becoming a member of my YouTube channel. Your support is very much appreciated. And I do want to back up and I think I saw Shen earlier. Yes, Shen is back. Welcome back, Shen. And Shen, thank you as well for becoming a member. A very common question when you are ordering fast food, especially if the restaurant sells fries, is would you like fries with that? So if you go into a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Wendy's, the typical fast food restaurants, and if you say, I'll have a hamburger and a Coke, they will most likely respond by saying, okay, and they'll kind of go beep, beep, and then they'll say, would you like fries with that? Okay. They always want you to buy more. That's probably why in North America, some of us have a little bit extra weight on our bodies than we should have. Hello, Julia Olise in the chat. And I see American English with this guy is here. I didn't say hi to Brent yet this morning. I had a couple fun emails back and forth with Brent yesterday. And Madi is there as well. Yes, Madi says I should use my glasses. Yeah, it does help. Here, I should supersize this slide. That's a little too big. The next thing they might ask you, and there's a lot of different versions of this, is they might say, would you like to supersize that? Or would you like to upsize that? What that means is there are normal sizes for drinks in a fast food restaurant and normal sizes for things like French fries. But they might ask you, oh, it's just like 90 cents more to make the drink bigger if you want a bigger drink. Or it's only, 60 cents more to get the supersized fries. So again, it does have a number of different names. In McDonald's, it's called supersize, as you can see from the pictures I've put here. But they might ask you if you want to upsize, supersize. I'm not sure what all of the words are, but it simply means paying a bit more for larger sizes. I don't have a slide for this, but they might also ask you if you want a combo. So if you say, I'll have a Coke and a hamburger, they might ask you, would you like the combo? And you would respond by saying, no, just the burger. A combo is when you get a drink, fries, or something else, and a hamburger all together. And the price is usually just a little bit lower. So sorry, I should have made a slide for that because that might trip you up. It might be hard for you to understand when they say, would you like the combo? And I usually don't get the combo because I usually don't order French fries. Let's see here. Brent says, it is now illegal to ask if you'd like to supersize in the US. I did not know that, Brent. Very interesting. There are more and more laws being created in Canada and the United States to try and make it harder for people to eat badly. Some states and some provinces have or are considering tax on things with too much sugar in it. And Brent has just mentioned that it is illegal to ask if you would like something supersized. Interesting. I don't think it is in Canada yet, but I'm going to check that one out. I just made up this price. This isn't a real price, but they will then say that'll be $24.65, or they'll say that'll be $12.11, or that'll be $22.50, whatever the cost is. I did want to tell you, though, I don't take my kids to fast food restaurants very often because with Jen, myself, and 5 kids, it usually costs us between $70 and $100 just to go to McDonald's. I know that sounds crazy, but my older kids are eating more and more. So it's usually about $10 to $15 for an adult to eat at a fast food restaurant in Canada. So if I take my kids out to eat, it certainly costs quite a bit. How would you like to pay? That's probably the last question they will ask because they're not sure if you want to pay with cash, like whether you have money in your wallet that you're going to give them, or if you're going to pay with a debit card. In Canada, we call it an Interac card, or if you're going to pay with Visa or MasterCard or a credit card. So they're simply going to ask you, how would you like to pay? Usually at that point, though, most people already have their card out or they have their cash out. Okay, so often if I'm paying cash, I'll already be holding some $20 bills in my hand, and then they won't ask me this question. They might look up and say, "Oh, cash? Okay, sir." And they'll take my money and give me my change. Your food will come on a tray. Fast food restaurants are very organized. All your food is on a tray. It makes it very, very easy to carry. And then the next part is, I think the next slide is what I'm thinking. It's my least favorite part of the fast food restaurant. It's plastic forks, spoons, and knives. Now, we do recycle most things in Canada, but not everyone does it. So often the plastic forks, plastic spoons, and plastic knives just get thrown in the garbage. And I really, really don't like that. I wish, even though they are recyclable, many people don't obey the rules and they put them in the wrong spot. You will want to get some condiments. You might call these toppings as well, but there's usually a condiment area where you can get ketchup, mustard, relish. It looks like this condiment area has a few extra things. There will be pepper and salt. Everything is usually in little packages, but sometimes there will just be a big vat of ketchup with a pump on top. So if you do like ketchup, that's how you would get your ketchup. Sorry, I didn't know how else to describe it. A vat is like a huge container, but literally in some fast food restaurants, there is a huge container of ketchup. And this is also not a favorite thing for me. I don't like finding a table. So sometimes fast food restaurants are very, very crowded. And sometimes it's hard to find a place to sit. It's hard to find a seat. It's hard to find a table. So I don't like this. Shen says in the chat, Teacher Bob made a video about restaurants before. I think that is useful. Yes, I made a video where I went to 4 different restaurants. If you search Bob the Canadian Restaurants, you'll find it. That video is still very popular. I think people like the fact that I actually go in to the restaurant and order food. So if you do want to watch that video, just search for Bob the Canadian Restaurants, and hopefully you will find it. But yes, finding a table, not enjoyable for me. I do not enjoy that part of the experience. And then also, again, just to mention, there used to only be garbage cans or garbage receptacles or trash cans in fast food restaurants. Now there is recycling and there is even compost in some restaurants. But again, people tend to just throw everything in the garbage. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't actually watched for a long time, but I do know that we have garbage recycling and sometimes there is also room for compost, and then you are supposed to sort. But sometimes people will just throw everything in the garbage. It's very, very wasteful. It's not good. The next kind of restaurant or place to eat that I want to talk about. By the way, we do call them places to eat as well. You might say to someone, is there a good place to eat around here? So we don't always use the word restaurant. You might say, oh, hey, it's nice being in your city. Is there a good place to eat around here? And they'll say, oh yeah, there's a really nice restaurant on the corner. The next kind of restaurant, informally in Canada, in my part of Canada, we call it a sit-down restaurant because you go and you sit down. The correct term is casual dining. If it's fancier, you would call it fine dining. You might call it casual fast dining because there's kind of a middle ground now, or fast casual. But generally, if Jen and I are talking, informally we say, hey, do you want to go out for a bite to eat? That's another thing we say in English. Sure. Do you want to go to fast food joint or you want to go to a sit-down restaurant? So I'm not sure if sit-down restaurant is common in other English-speaking areas, but definitely in my area, we will call it that. Yeah. You can also say, do you want to go out for fast food or something a little nicer? Which is kind of a bit of a slam against fast food as well. So anyways, that's the next type of restaurant. You will be greeted when you walk in by a host or hostess. This is not your waiter. This is not the waitress or server. This is simply someone who greets you, and usually they're just there to take you to your table and to give you your menus. Okay, so this is not the person you order from. Usually they'll say how many tonight or how many in your party, seating for how many. They're really just asking how many people they are going to need to find a table for. Alexander Chopik, thank you so much for becoming a member of my channel. That's awesome of you. Thank you for supporting everything that I do. I love it. So the first thing they'll ask you will be some form of question asking how many people they need to find a table for. And then you could respond by saying, could we get a table for 2? You could just say there's 2 of us. You could say, in our case, we need a table for 7. Or you just say, yeah, we need seating for 7, or there are 7 of us. So any variation of that works. You just need to let them know how many people there are. They might say, how many people are we expecting tonight, or just the 2 of you, but they'll use some kind of number, or they'll ask a question to find out from you the number of people that will be dining with them or eating there that evening. You might want to get a booth. Let me make this a little bigger. You might want to get a booth instead of a table. So you can see a booth is something a little more private. A booth usually is more comfortable seating. Instead of chairs, there's kind of a comfy place to sit. You'll still have a table, of course. But usually when we go out with the kids, we sit at a big table in a restaurant. When Jen and I go out together, we usually ask for a booth so that we can sit and we can see each other, and it's just a little bit more private for us. They will bring you a menu, and it might be a little bit overwhelming because it might be really, really big. But that menu will have all of the food items on it. When the server takes you to your table, I don't have a slide for this, but after they know how many, they might ask you to wait. They might say, okay, just wait. It'll be about 10 minutes. Or they'll say, okay, come with me. So if they ask you to wait, there's usually an area to sit, or you might need to stand. But then they will take you to your table and they will give you your menus. Sometimes the host takes your drink order. Sometimes they don't. Usually you have to wait for a waiter or waitress or server. They'll give you kids menus if you have kids with you. Kids menu is usually has, yeah, Marty says, can we get a table for Bob's family? Yeah, they do look at us. Sometimes they have to move tables when we go out to eat to make a bigger table. Anyways, when you get to your table, you will already have your cutlery or your utensils or your flatware or your silverware, and there will be a napkin there. Now, we use different words in different parts of North America. In Canada, we sometimes say cutlery, and we usually say utensils. But what we're talking about are forks, spoons, and knives. So they will already have that at the table. Sometimes they are wrapped in a napkin, okay? And just one last thing. In a fast food restaurant in Canada, there's napkins, but we also call them serviettes. They don't call them that in the United States, but in Canada, that's what we call them. Starters and appetizers. Let me make this a little bigger. So here you can see you could get potato skins, mozzarella sticks, breaded zucchini, onion rings, chicken strips. Sometimes the appetizers and starters, the things that you order first in North America, can actually seem like meals. In fact, sometimes Jen and I will go to a restaurant and just order a couple starters and eat that, and that's it. Because you can get quite a bit of food. You can get quesadillas. There are a number of things that you can get as starters. In fact, let me see what else is on here. Chicken quesadilla, nachos, nachos supreme. So yes, you can get a number of different things. This is before the main dish. This is just something, I guess, that will help you be hungrier. Maybe that's what it's for. There will also be a part of the menu where you can order soups or salad. This is general for, again, remember we're talking about, let me get back all the way over here. We're in now a fancier restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, or you are doing some fine dining. There will be a section of the menu called mains or main dishes, or in my part of Canada, it might be called an entree. I know in French, entree is probably an appetizer, but in Canada, an entree is the main course. Okay, so this is where you'll find things like steak or chicken and those kinds of things. I think this one even has fish and chips on it. Yes, fish and chips. There you go. And there will be a part of the menu for sides. So sides are things like French fries. This one has French fries, mashed potato, coleslaw, potato salad, all those kinds of things. So sides are side orders. They're things that you order in addition to the actual meal. And there will be a drinks section of the menu. The drinks section will have coffee, tea, soda, or what we call pop. It'll have Coke, ginger ale, Sprite, Fanta, if you're in a country that has Fanta. And there will be a section of the drinks menu where there are alcoholic beverages like beer and wine. But sometimes the drinks menu will actually just be on the table. It's very common in restaurants in my area to have the drinks menu and the dessert menu as separate menus, and they're just sitting on the table all the time. They're just smaller menus and different from the big menu that your host will give you. And then there will, of course, be a dessert menu. We should make this menu big so Bob can see all the chocolate and ice cream. Oh, that looks really yummy, doesn't it? So your waiter or waitress or server, we use all three names. Waiter is male, waitress female. Server is the term for male or female. We use the word server a lot more now. So your server will be with you in a minute. The host might say that to you as you are sitting down. Just let me check something for a moment here. Okay, I just wanted to see where we were at in the lesson so that I don't go too slow or too fast. Your waitress or waiter or server will say, could I start you off with some drinks? Or does anyone need drinks? What drinks would you like to order? So generally, they will ask you for your drink order before your food order, okay? And they'll come back later to get your food order. When they bring your drinks, they're, I think, hoping you're ready to order your food. So mostly I just order water. I usually say, oh, can I have some water? I'll have a glass of water, please. I don't like to buy drinks in a restaurant because it's really expensive and costs too much money. When they come back with your drinks, they might say, is everyone ready to order? At which point you could say yes or no. You could say, we need a little bit more time. Or sometimes you might say, well, we're all ready, but Joe's not. That's not a nice thing to say. But they will want to know if you're ready to order. If you aren't, they'll come back a few minutes later. Sorry, I kind of missed a step here. After you place your order, you'll wait for a little bit, and then the waitress or waiter will bring your order out. Actually, multiple servers might come and bring your order if you have a family my size. But you will get your food, and then you can start eating. After you've been eating for about 5 minutes, the server usually comes back and says, how's everything? So they usually come back just to find out. Oh, that's a little too big. Just to say, you know, how's everything? Is the food okay? They want to know if they forgot anything, and they want to just make sure that maybe they forgot to bring a drink or a side order. So they usually check in. Madi says, thanks for the lesson, gotta go. And then he put a whole bunch of food. No problem, Madi. See you later. So they'll come and say, how's everything? And then when you're all done eating, they'll usually say something like, can I take that for you? Because they want to take your dishes. They want to take your plates and stuff when you're done. And usually they'll say, would you like to see the dessert menu? Or they'll say, is anyone having dessert tonight? Would anyone like some dessert tonight? They'll just want to know if you want to have something in addition to what you've just eaten. I usually say no because I'm cheap, and it's cheaper just to go to the grocery store and buy ice cream on the way home from the restaurant. So if you have food left over, you can get a doggy bag, or you can get it boxed up. We still use doggy bag a little bit, but if you order a big steak and you can only eat half of it, they will give you a box to put it in, or they will give you a doggy bag. So it's usually a box now. There's no actual bag anymore. And I think the original idea was that you would take the food home and give it to your dog. No one does that. If we take food home, I just eat it the next day for sure. And then if you say no to dessert, they might say something like, so just the bill then? Or are you ready to settle up? Or, oh, okay, so do you want the bill? And then they will bring you the bill. Oh, and that is the end. Then you leave, and you leave a tip. For sure, you need to leave a tip. Sorry, it's not the end of the lesson, but that's the end of your fine dining or casual dining experience. I hope I explained it well. Again, I do have, I think, 2 other videos about restaurants. I think I explained this in another video about restaurants, going out to eat. I don't actually go to a restaurant in that video, but I do that. There is another kind of restaurant, and it's called a buffet. A buffet is a place where all of the food, basically you pay a certain amount of money to go in. We have a large restaurant called the Mandarin close to us. We also have a restaurant called Tucker's Marketplace. And what you do for that restaurant is it's simply one amount of money. Okay. So you pay like $35, and then you go and all the food is prepared, and you go and get a plate and you just get food. And sometimes it's called an all-you-can-eat restaurant, because you can pay one amount of money and you can eat as much food as you want. So we don't often go to all-you-can-eat restaurants because I don't actually think I need to eat that much food. But a buffet or an all-you-can-eat restaurant charges one amount of money. Then you go and you eat as much as you want. Another kind of restaurant sort of would be a coffee shop or a cafe. A coffee shop is probably more like a fast food restaurant, except they just serve coffee and donuts and cookies. So it would be similar to a McDonald's, except the food would be different. So you would walk up, you would place your order, they would get you your order, you would pay. A cafe might have it a little bit different. There are some fancier cafes where you sit down and there is a waiter or waitress, but generally a coffee shop is really quick. A cafe is a little more a slower pace. And then the last type of restaurant or place to eat would be a cafeteria. So a cafeteria is usually found at a place like a school or a university. It might be found at a hospital, but a cafeteria is a place where, once again, all the food is ready to go. You can see in the picture, you can see all the food is hot. And you just go and you tell the person what you would like, and they put it on a plate for you, and then they hand you the plate and you pay for it. So cafeteria, again, usually found. Schools often have a cafeteria. Hospitals have a cafeteria. Some large office buildings might have a cafeteria, although that would be rare. But generally, if you are wanting to go and get some food, let's say you're visiting someone at the hospital, usually you can go to the hospital cafeteria if you wanted to order some food.